Hello and welcome to what I hope will be a short instructional video on recording pub gigs. You know the type, you've got a small little band, or maybe one of your friends has a small little band, typical, bass, guitar, drums, couple of singers, band, and they're starting to get gigs in small pubs, small music venues. So usually the sound's not going to be super, but you'd like there to be a memento of this because it's useful for the band for live performances to be recorded, just so they can hear how bad they are once they get nervous on stage, but also because it's a good thing to have a decent thing you can cut to send away to promoters and so on. I apologize on behalf of the cat, who seems to be interested in the process as well. Okay, to record pub gigs, I recommend this instrument. This is a Zoom H1 handy recorder. This is really good. This is the best £80 I've ever spent. Although there was that one night in Bangkok with 4 lady boys, so I'm guessing maybe tied first best. It runs on a single AA battery. It records to some kind of mini or micro SD card here. It's got 2 very decent for the price condenser microphones here. It can record to uncompressed WAV or to MP3. It's got a built-in low-cut filter, and it's got a built-in auto level adjustment. And you can change the bitrate and frequency whether you're recording in WAV or in MP3. So that's all very, very practical. And all of that for like £79. Comes in a nice little case. Woo! Connects to your computer via that particular flavor of USB, which I think is mini USB. So very convenient. That's very good to record band practice as well. So you can have something to take home and listen to yourselves whilst you're not playing to improve on your artistic performance. But here I'm going to focus on using it, or indeed using 2 of those whenever possible, to record a pub gig. So in order to get the best recording for a pub gig, you have to understand how the gig is wired and how the sound is made in a pub gig to start with. So this varies from pub to pub, but assuming you've got your standard band that may have 1 or 2 guitars, a drummer for sure, a bass that may or may not have an amp, but will in all likelihood be DI'd to the desk, and a couple of singers. So all of that, at least your singers will go for the desk, and anything that's DI'd, if you don't have a bass amp, will go to the desk. On the better, larger kind of venues, they will also try to mic up the kick, mic up the snare, maybe mic up the guitars, and potentially run all of this to the desk with a question mark. The desk also sends back various monitoring mixes to fold back wedges and other type of monitors on the stage, but mainly the desk then routes his main mix to the PA for the club, the music club, the music venue. The main idea here is that loud instruments, typically the guitar amps and the drums and the bass amp, if there is a bass amp and it's beefy enough, don't really need to be mic'd up and go through that, because they can be heard straight from the stage. However, what does need to be amplified is definitely the voice, and then if you want them to punch through a little bit more, kick and snare. So it depends what size of venue you are. See, larger venues, then you can't really, professional big venues, they mic up everything because they can't rely on the sound just coming off the back line. Smaller venues, then it's even worse. They have a higher incentive to mic up the quieter instruments. So if you've got a violin, for instance, it will have to be mic'd up as well, because the difference between how loud the backline is and how quiet those acoustic instruments or voices are is much more pronounced. So let's assume this is this kind of scenario. You'd have to kind of play it by ear. Look at what's being mic'd up, look at what not, because it will inform how to do your recording. What I've done, and I'm going to show you how it's then cut and mixed down and so on, is to have 2 of those, because the guitar player in our band found it so fantastic to record rehearsals that he bought himself one, so he brought 1 each. So one can be used to just record the gig acoustically as you would in the room. This will sound pretty much like it will sound in the room, but So that's already a good start. So if you really want to get one of those, you put it in the room. Put it in such a fashion that it's as close to the desk as possible, because the guy doing the mix down will be doing from the point from where he's hearing things. But also beware of being too close to walls or ceilings or corners or the floor, because you get much more bass response as you get closer to a wall, because the bassy wave bounces back and then is effectively picked up twice. Aim it at the stage, so you do get a bit of a stereo image if that's been mixed vaguely in stereo, but also keep it fixed. Keep it, like, don't have it by hand, because you're gonna, like, there's gonna be a lot of rumble and noises if you hold it in your hand. Even if you use it can screw on a little mini camera tripod, which is quite helpful. However, even if you get that, you're gonna get a lot of low end coming through the tripod, so you need to make sure it's isolated. So turn the low cut filter on for that. Ideally, what we ended up doing in that particular gig, which I think was quite useful, there was actually a projector hanging from the ceiling, bang in the middle of the room, and we gaffer taped it to the projector. So no risk of having the low frequency, no risk of anyone bumping into it, no risk of having the low frequencies going through the ground and into the recorder through a stand or a tripod. That was ideal, except that I had to sort of stand on a chair to turn it on and off. Then for the session I'm going to show you, what we did is we had one room recorder and another one running off the desk. Now we effectively picked up, so it's a desk recorder 1, we picked up the PA mix of the desk into recorder 2. Now those, you'll see, have a line in and a headphones out. So bring a pair of like solid closed back headphones so you can hear what it's sounding like. Get an off cable so you can go from whatever kind of alternate set of outputs the desk has to a mini stereo jack, and you should be rolling. Now, ideally, I wouldn't get the PA mix. Ideally, I would check with the sound man if there's maybe like a stereo pair of auxes or a stereo bus of some kind where a submix can be routed. So you'd send something to your recorder that's not exactly the mix that goes to the PA, because the mix that goes to the PA is going to be very low in all of this and very high in all of that, because this is very loud and doesn't really need to be amplified. Whereas if you have the ability to do a second mix, even if it's on headphones, you're able to actually route something that's much more balanced and almost can just like pick up the copy of that, and that's your recording. Now let's have a look at how we got in both those files, line them up, cut them up, and treat them in our digital audio workstation of choice.